Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are having a terrific start to the week. We are in the last week of March, so hopefully you had a wonderful March and hopefully you're getting into a wonderful April. I can't believe we're in April. Sometimes I think we're in November, but that's the way it is. Let's go ahead and just check audio. I just set up the mic. Should be good. Oh, I hear myself good. Now I'm going to mute myself. So yeah, it's gonna be. Oh, thank you, my wonderful prof. You look beautiful and sound clear. That's exactly how I want to sound. Well, thank you very much. It's gonna be just a pretty nice, low key, casual stream. Just talking about in a positive way, in a very positive way, why it's okay to criticize bad art when we see it, especially of course, in one way or another, we've all seen what has become of some very excellent pieces of popular art. But this can be applied to any kind of art or any kind of creative application. So it'll be, I'll be quite kind in the matter. We don't want to be negative looking. Let me bring this down. Yeah, we don't want to look negative. We want to have a smile on our face. and all of that, but I just had some thoughts over the last couple weeks, especially in light of the recent Batman film, the writing missteps that I had heard regarding the Book of Boba Fett, and just the general cultural shift of people who claim that they are, fans of a certain work or a certain franchise. So we'll probably stick with popular art, but I would just say, just in general, it is okay. I'm here to tell you, as a teacher, as a music teacher, as someone who is in her art daily, it is okay to criticize bad art. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and welcome the chat. And we'll start. Well, actually, I think Professor Geek, my wonderful Professor Geek, was first, but we do have Gigawatt first in line here on the comment section. Those are two sentences I hear all the time, and I think you're referring to my thumbnail where it says, "You're so negative, just enjoy it." Yeah, and then Big Al, our wonderful friend of Perpetual Sunshine, is wishing me a great stream. And for Big Al's sake, I am going to be kind when I'm talking about this, because I think you can be edifying in your admonishment of a thing. And then we've got Dr. Y being cheeky. We're gonna die. Think positive. Think positive. We're gonna die quickly. And we've got Soundtracks with Birdman with us. And Go Team Ghost Planet. Go. Wonderful to have you. And I'll get back to my tweet that I had posted. That's a tweet that I had earlier, I think February. Big Al says, like he would say anything else. True. Well, he would definitely tell me if I was muted or if something was wrong with my audio. We've got also John Hansen. Welcome. Good to have you. And good night. Yes, you're based in Sweden, aren't you? Aren't you like 2:30 right now? So I'll still be up 2:30 my time. That is for sure. All comms coming in clear. The sound is engraving nicely. That's good. That's good. And I do want to touch on this. What Soundtracks with Birdman is saying. Is this a slap-free show? So I heard something to do with Will Smith and striking Chris Rock. I think it was for doing a tame joke regarding his wife. I have no idea what the situation is. I'm not gonna jump on what that is. If you guys have some ideas, pay your be respectful. Pay your respects. No, I don't know how to use that phrase right now. But I did hear that the Oscars had a little bit of a kerfuffle, like a little bit of a, not even an altercation, but Will Smith being offended by a joke and then assaulting someone. Now, here's the thing. This is just speculation. I don't know anything of the matter. I don't know the drama that goes on with Will Smith and his family. I just don't follow celebrities at all. But I do know that the Oscars, as far as viewership, is just plummeting through the floor. And it would not surprise me. I didn't see it. I didn't see it myself, so I don't know what it looks like, but it would not surprise me if something like that was an actual publicity stunt just to get people talking about the Oscars. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. So, yeah. Oh, it's a favorite word of mine. Good. I'm glad. Dr. Y says Will Smith must have been trying for the role of Moses. He struck a rock. Yeah, there was a joke. I heard one man say, "Yeah, he got caught red-handed." Not red-handed, because he slapped someone. So anyway, we'll get into the topic, and this will be a really light stream, very casual stream. Your thoughts on the matter? I mean, I might, depending. It's a total impromptu. I have no notes or anything. Just a couple pinpoints here. Oh, you can't see that. You want to see my good handwriting? Oh, there it is. But yeah, it's totally impromptu. So nice and casual, and we'll go ahead and take it away. But I will start with a tweet of mine. This is copying a tweet that I had posted a few weeks back. One reason why I can critique art is I'm constantly critiquing my own art during daily practice. You naturally improve with daily practice. Even more, you single out the best ways to improve. So, I've been in the middle of composing and editing between 4 and 5 different tracks. 4 tracks for an upcoming EP, hopefully to be released in a month or so. You never know with these projects. And then also my single track that is the synthwave track that I've been showcasing on my channel. And with this constant composing and editing, in addition to my editorial process with my own writing, science fiction daily, I'm constantly in this daily grind of getting things better, always improving. And sometimes when I'm in the zone, I'll have my headphones and I'll be listening to my music, and I'll try different things. I'll make these aural suggestions, like I'll move up a bit of MIDI data, I'll remove something, I'll add something. And sometimes in the middle of that workflow, I will say, "This sounds so stupid," or "That's bad, I don't like that," or "Nah, that's not working at all. Oh, no, don't do that." And so I'm constantly, whether out loud while I'm talking out loud in my workflow, or I'm thinking it, or I'm sure I have like facial gestures when I'm working, like, "Oh, I don't like that." I'm on this constant, feedback, this constant self feedback, telling myself what's working and what's not working. And a lot of that, a huge percentage of that time is the negative. Like, this is bad, this stinks, this doesn't work. And it's a constant negative feedback, not in an unhealthy way, like I'm sabotaging my well-being, but I do make creative decisions on a daily basis, even on the micro level. Yeah, you have the macro, which is the whole piece, but then you've got micro levels, moments to moments with my music, and then also in the editing process with my writing. Not just writing out stuff, but making sure things are making sense, things are succinct, things are congruent with one another, and all of that. So in my daily practice, I am critiquing my own stuff. And, even with things I've already released in music, there are a handful of tracks where I'm thinking, "Oh man, I wish I got that better. I wish I got these 2 or 3 things better with this track. I wish I didn't have this kind of percussion for this track." I'm always doing that mentally. I don't say what needs to be improved, publicly. I don't think that's necessary, because actually a lot of things that I don't prefer in my own music, I've heard people like. So, I keep my own personal things private, like what I don't prefer about my art. But I just want to let you know that it's a constant critique daily, minute to minute, hour to hour, in the composing and editing phase or the writing and editing phase. It's constantly critiquing my art to get it better. If something stinks about my music or my writing, I have to fix it, and I have to fix it pretty much right then and there. So for me, as a composer, also as a violinist who, practices frequently as well, and then there are good days where I practice and it feels good, and then there are terrible days. So sometimes I have just 45 minutes of like, ugh, this isn't working. My students sometimes, especially my adult students, when they have bad practice days, they think it's just them. I'm saying no, no. You can play all of your life, all of your life, one instrument, and you'll still have terrible practice days, even as a professional. So that constant reworking and revising and improving and stuff allows me to be able to critique other art. Now, I want to be careful when I'm talking about critiquing art or being critical or thinking critically or using the word criticize. This is not to be like with any spirit of hate or anger or you know resentment or any bitterness. You don't want to critique anything with a mode of bitterness. you know Saying negative things about something does not default you to being a negative critical person, and we're gonna get to that because there is a fine, not fine line actually. There is it's a pretty thick line. There's a distinction of thinking critically and having a critical spirit. Yes, you can use that same word for two very dynamically different things, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it is important to critique or criticize bad art. Now, before I even get into my thoughts of like the stream of consciousness that you are about to witness, I want to, and I'm just double checking. Okay, everything looks good, and we'll get to the chat later. Um, before all of that, I did want to bring in a couple of points. I want to put a couple of things place before you right at the table, so you know where I'm coming from. The first is I'm going to introduce this as a question. Is it okay to like bad art? Is it okay to enjoy bad art? And the answer is yes. Never on my streams, never in all the videos that I have posted and published, never once will you find me saying, "Oh, it's bad to like bad art. You should be ashamed of yourself for liking bad art. Oh, you're stupid for liking bad art, or you're stupid for enjoying bad art." No, if it's your decision to enjoy bad art, then that is your decision. That is your freedom. You are entitled to do that. So I want to say right off the bat that if you enjoy something that by and large is disliked or unaccepted, if it does not impose anything morally speaking, if it actually does bring you down morally, that's a deeper topic. That's a debate. That's actually more of a thing I would posit as a Christian. Like, oh, should you be reading this? Should you be watching this? Should you be viewing this? Is it bringing you down as a human being? Is it bringing down your spirituality for the worst? Okay, yeah. Well, that's another issue. But on its own, like if there's no moral quandary, if you're not going against your conscience, um, if you're, I'm saying this like very carefully because I want to leave morality out of it. Prof would actually, as a Catholic and as a scholar, he actually does value good art because of the morality, and I do too. And maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later. But I just want to, just for the sake of enjoying, like I enjoy a cup of black coffee in the morning. That's what I mean by enjoy. That it's not actually sedating you morally or intellectually or emotionally or mentally. It's just enjoying for the sake of enjoying. So let's use a very real example. Maybe not the best one for my argument, but if you truly had no contentions with the show The Book of Boba Fett, then that is your right. That's your prerogative. And I won't fault you for enjoying and liking it and liking the experience. So, in a nutshell, is it okay to like bad art? Yes, provided that it is not bringing you down morally, if it's not a matter of conscience. If you are going along with your good conscience, fine. That is fine. So I would say that that is a positive spin on it. That I I'm in no position to give you any liberty of anything because you are your own person, you are your own individual. But if you were to ask of my opinion on the matter, saying, okay, Sound Engraver, I do enjoy this. I know this is bad art. I know this is objectively flawed, but is it okay that I like it? And I would say you enjoy it, and that's fine. But I will say that there is a very significant cultural shift that I have seen recently. And that is I have seen kind of a shift in tone with, the narrative of enjoying something for the sake of enjoying it, or saying, "Oh, why can't we just like this? Why are you so negative? Why can't you be positive about this? Or if you don't like it, don't watch it." There are a couple things I wanna, bring to the table. The first is, and I think this was really it touched on me recently. Um, I listen to different YouTubers, whether big name YouTubers or, like Shad Adversity or even people like Thor Skywalker. I still want to be in the know with what fans of Star Wars are saying. And then smaller YouTubers, I can't think of anyone on the top of my head. Actually, on popular culture, I don't think I listen to anyone besides Professor Geek. I don't really listen to, medium-sized YouTubers or small YouTubers, unless they're affiliated with another YouTuber. So I guess I can't give you any examples because I don't have any. So, things like, YouTubers like Shadiversity. I guess RJ would be a medium small YouTuber. Um, so I've been kind of in the know of what people are saying, whether it's the YouTubers themselves or people who listen to them and with their comments, and sometimes I engage. I would like more subscribers. There is a little bit of an ulterior motive to engaging with people of these bigger names, but I also have points to make. I want to say, on someone like RJ's channel, the Fourth Age, he's very much about the the morality and shunning vice in art. And I think in a recent video of his, I said something along the lines of, "This is why I will remain dogged in my position that art is objective and objectively good, objectively bad, objectively mediocre," and that's an important thing for me. Um, so that was a little bit of a sidebar, but I have been kind of in the know of, what are these people saying? What are their listeners saying to different things? And I think it was really the recent example of the Batman, where I think people have just settled. I think they're tired of fighting the good fight. I think they're tired of trying to defend and uphold the archetype that is Batman. The aspirational archetype. And I think people, by and large, I'm feeling kind of this visceral. People are at the end of their rope. They don't want to fight anymore. The world is chaotic. It's all chaos in the world, and they need some sort of sedation to get out of it. And I know that's a choice, but I would still encourage people to fight the good fight if they really do believe something is on the line. If there's a looming threat, in the case of good art, if good art is being deconstructed, if it's constantly put into question, or if it's constantly berated. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm always going to fight. I'm always going to fight for upholding good art and preserving good art, and no matter what that looks like, even if I'm accused of being a cynic and being negative, I just have to. That's just my nature. But I have seen, with the recent film of Batman, I've seen people just settle. I've seen people just say, pretty much throw in the towel saying, you know what? It's not bad. Okay. There are some good positive moments about that film. I know it wasn't all great. It wasn't all Batman, but there were some positive things that I'm just going to take the positive. And if I'm using the reference correctly, I think of Brave New World. I haven't read that book in years, but Brave New World is kind of when they have when the citizens, not where the savage is, but when the citizens are, they're pretty much doped up with this thing called Soma. I think it's called Soma, and it's to induce this kind of euphoric state of happiness and kind of like this zone, this relaxation zone where they're just not bothered by serious things in the world. If there is even serious things, it's been years since I've read Brave New World, but I remember that element of that world building where people are just inundated with pleasurable experiences, including this I think it's a drug called Soma, and I think that's happening culturally among the fandom with something like Batman, where Batman has just been he's been reworked, refashioned, deconstructed and reconstructed, and now people besides Prof, I mean, even people who I have respect as far as writing is concerned, like the skills, oh, how to be a writer, they don't understand. Well, they might understand a lot of Batman, but they don't understand Batman like the Prof understands Batman, even if they have a lot of Batman right. But that's another sidebar. But the whole point is, with this film, I noticed a huge just plateau. Like, you know what? I'm not going to fight anymore. Now, again, as people can enjoy bad art, as people can enjoy what they choose to enjoy, provided it doesn't bring them harm or others harm, that's your prerogative. That's your right to make that decision. But there's also something else that's happening in this cultural shift. There is a rise in antagonism to those who remain objective in critiquing bad art. Or when I say bad art, I'm talking about quality. So if you're not upholding the integrity of a thing like Batman, then that is a poor rendition of Batman. That's a poor representation. That is a poor quality piece of art regarding that thing. In this case, it's Batman. Um, and so there's this rise in this antagonism now where not only do people really just either don't care or they want to enjoy it. Again, that's your prerogative. But now they're turning the tables. No, that's not the way to use that phrase. They're flipping the tables on you in anger and protest, saying, wait a sec, okay, I've made this decision where I've plateaued. Okay. I don't want to fight the good fight anymore, but let's just have this fighting stop. Okay. Let's have this division stop. Let's stop being negative and just take what is positive about these things, like the Soma drug, like with you deciding, okay, I'm going to be inebriated with pleasurable experiences, like the Brave New World civilians or whatever they are, if I remember that correctly. uh, so I've decided to be positive about this. Okay, I all agree with him. We're seeing bad news all the time. I'm not really a political person, but every time I see what's happening in the world, I understand. I want to stay positive too, but not at the expense of what I believe is right. And what I believe is right as an artist is upholding the good and preserving the good quality. So this rise of antagonism now where fans who have thrown in the towel saying, listen, I'm going to take anything I can that is positive and I'm going to run with it. But how dare you stay negative? You are cynical. I've heard this thrown at Shad Adversity because he's objective about certain flaws of certain things. Even his devoted listeners, well, maybe they're trolls, I don't know, but even his listeners will call him a narcissist because he dares use the word objective. When he says there are objective flaws about these things and here's why, they will call him a narcissist. They will call him opinionated because they're very, very much triggered by the word objective. Now, I didn't know this, guys. For 2 years, I've been talking about how and why art is objective. I will say it again, art is objective. Your experience of that art is what is subjective. And I have hours of content explaining all that and my position, and you feel free to disagree with that position. I understand. Believe me, I've had some comments to contend with me and say how wrong I am. And if you disagree with me, fine, and you can put it in the chat. Just be respectful. Don't berate me for my position on that. But watching just a recent video of Shad Adversity where people had a massive problem with, I mean, comment after comment. I thought it was just like 1 or 2 comments that'd be this. No, man, it was a bulk of his comments where it was just people having a fundamental issue, like it was fundamentally just wrecking their being, their core, using words objective and subjective. And there's implications why people would be triggered, but that's a whole other video if you're ever interested. But the point of my using that example is that people now who had no problem berating things like the sequel trilogy, who had no problem berating things like Picard, I don't know. I'm kind of having these examples, come off the top of my head. People who would be just staunch opponents against certain franchises would be like, okay, just give me Batman. I'm fine. Just give me Batman. Just, okay, maybe I don't like Book of Boba Fett, but hey, there was Mando, and you leave Mando alone. You leave Baby Yoda alone, or sorry, the child, or Grogu. Yeah. So they had, people who were just staunch opponents against creative business decisions or creative decisions on one franchise are saying, okay, let me just have this. Let me just, I'll take the Pattinson Batman. Just let me have him. And how dare you be critical? You need to find something positive. And so now we're getting this in the Fandom Menace, and I'm not really in support of the Fandom Menace, and we can talk about, why. Maybe I'll talk about it in my next point, because this is an impromptu stream, so I'm kind of coming up with these ideas off the top of my head. This rise in antagonism, where it's like now we're seeing a cultural narrative shift, a cultural shift in the narrative, where fans are like, okay, I want to enjoy this, but I want to oppose you for not letting me enjoy this. No one's saying you can't enjoy it. No one's saying you can't find the positive. But when you throw it back at us and call us negative or cynical, I mean, even with the politically charged words like red pill and blue pill, I didn't know about like the things like white pill, being white pilled, seeing the light or whatever, or the spiritual light, and then also the term black pill, and now I'm seeing, it's amazing when you hear a word that's kind of not been used, and then you see it everywhere. It's like buying a new car and then you see your car on the highway everywhere. It's like, oh, there's my car. Well, not me, because I have a 2008, so that's kind of rare. But there's my car. Oh, there's my car there. It's, oh, 2 colors, or two cars of the same color, and mine's the same color. So now I've been hearing in our modern exchange of ideas, in the online public square, this term called Blackpill. Prof has been in different ways been accused of being antagonistic, and so now it could be like a stigma. So for Professor Geek to be critical concerning the archetype Batman, well, now if he's seen as negative, he could be accused of being something like a black pill. Now, here's the thing about black pill. specifically. I don't, by the way, I don't like using politically charged words. I rarely ever use, I don't think I've ever used it except for the example I'm about to now. I do not like using the word or the phrase social justice warrior. I think it does paint people in a broad stroke. I say ideologues because if you're an ideologue, you can have you're adhering to an ideology, and then another ideologue could be of a religious ideology. So I use that word instead of the common vernacular that, the politically, it's more politically charged to use a specific thing like social justice warrior. Much in the same manner, it's the same way as Blackpill. It's a very stigmatizing term. What does a black pill mean? Well, in so many ways, it means you have despair. You've slipped into despair. You are hopeless. So when people are being proactive in their assessment and critique of an art piece, and yes, it's drawing on the negative of that art piece, now it's been popular. It's been thrown around in this with these YouTubers and their followers. It's been you're seeing this very specific terms that are meant to stigmatize. So instead of let's say with Professor Geek or with me saying I am admonishing, not admonishing, that's not the right. I'm critiquing this art piece. I'm saying what is constructive criticism, like I would be as a music teacher. Like I will point out the weaknesses in my students playing. I will cushion it with some strengths that they have, but I will get to the bottom of that weakness until it is improved. That's been my nature. That's just been my routine as a music teacher these last 5 years. I will not rest until that thing is improved. And sometimes I repeat myself. Sometimes I repeat myself for like 3 or 4 years with the same student. But it's important to me that they get that they get why it's so important to improve a certain technique. So that kind of constructive criticism now, it has been stigmatized as you are cynical, you are hopeless, you are negative. And using those words that's stigmatizing. That's putting a a, a terrible look to a person, undeserved. So that's the kind of what I'm wanting to talk about with just encouraging people in this cultural shift among the fandom that it is okay to critique bad art. You're not, I mean, do it in a wholesome way. You're not attacking a person for enjoying that art. You're pinpointing flaws of that piece of art. Now, if you do it in a harsh way, or if you are prejudiced toward people for liking bad art, yeah, that's a problem. You don't fault people for liking bad art. But now it's come to the point where now people are faulting you for having constructive criticism on a certain thing. I think it has to do with the cultural climate at large, with all the conflicts going on, with the division in social media and everything that's happening in the world, everything that's been really affecting everyone on a large scale, like everyone for the last 2.5 years. I think people are really tired of the negative. Now, total sidebar. We'll get into the chat soon because I'd love to hear your ideas of all of this. And I'm not done. I'm not finished with my own thoughts, but I just want to encourage a couple things or advise you in this way. If you really are feeling depressed by what is going on in the world, you have to switch it off. No matter how much you feel like you will miss, no matter how much you feel like you will be ignorant of the situation, no matter how much you lose as far as information, you need to switch it off. Sometimes when I feel very heavy at heart with what's going on in the world, I won't listen to the news, by the way. I refuse. Whatever side, it doesn't matter. People say, "Oh, it's this news outlet." I'm like, It's all of them. It's infotainment. No matter how much you say that they're not biased or whatever, it's all infotainment. They are after your views, and they will try to make you afraid. Like, even news people that you thought you trusted, they have headlines saying stuff that you should make that should make you afraid. So I don't watch the news, but the 1 or 2 sources that I listen to, for world topics, if I have a day or 2 where my heart is just heavy for the world, first of all, I pray. I pray a lot. The second is, I don't even listen to the people I like listening to, that I trust are fair as far as what's going on, because of just the content. Because I just, like, I can't do it. Give me 3 days. I'm gonna listen to stuff on music videos, popular art videos. I will, abstain. I'll abstain from any social news commentary, unless it's like satire, unless it's comedy. I will abstain from that stuff, even if I feel like it's informative, because it can really weigh my heart and my spirit down because of all this chaos that's going on in the world. So if you are feeling just overwhelmed by the decision making of our elites in office and world leaders and all that, lose the news. You just have to lose it. It doesn't have to be like a whole month or whatever, but take a week off. Take a week off social media, unless you're following artists like I do on social media. I follow artists on Twitter. I don't follow the news on Twitter, not at all. Take a few days off. And I say that because I think a lot of the world events are affecting the listeners and the viewers of popular art, where they're like, okay, I hate what's going on in the world right now. I need an escape. I need an escape. And that escape it has to be a positive one. So please, 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 for the love of all things good, don't make this negative. I can't stand it. No, no, no. When you're in that position and you're losing sight of constructive criticism, you have to shut the world out. Not like totally isolate yourself, but you got to switch off the Wi-Fi. You've got to switch off the news. And then reorient yourself and say, "Oh, okay. Yeah, what they did with Batman was not all Batman." Don't let what the world outside is, don't let that cloud and affect your perspective of what good art is. And I think that's what's happening. I think that's what's happening with the fandom. I think that's what's happening with people who are just tired of hearing the negative take on popular art. So I'll stop there. I'm not done with my thoughts, but I would love to interact with you guys and see what's happening. Of course, I'm going to check if audio is good. Yeah, good, 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 good. All right, we've got some people. Before I scroll up the comments, let me welcome some new people. Deflating atheism. I would love to know the meaning of that name. I'm Christian. I'm a Protestant dating my Catholic. Well, he's not a Catholic professor of Catholicism, but he's a professor who is Catholic. The hand banana. Interesting. Owen Lister's in here. Cool. Welcome, Owen Lister. It's been a long time. I hope you are doing well. Final Fantasy fan, Private Eye, all of you guys here. And we'll get to your comments. I just wanted to make sure. I thought I saw Zootopia too. Somewhere. There he is. Alrighty, so let's get into your thoughts, and then we'll just have a fun time talking about this. I think I said all what I needed to say, and I think it'll just Sometimes with my impromptu streams, I do feel a little like a head rush, of discombobulation. All right. So, okay, so talking about Will Smith. Okay. Gigawatt is pointing out something I'm suspecting. I think the Oscars are going the WWE route to get more viewers. Yeah, I it could have been a total real thing, spur of the moment, and if that is, I mean, I don't condone the behavior of Will Smith. If he hit a guy just for joking, and well, I guess I heard Rock was joking about his wife's hair condition, and maybe it's a sensitive topic, but you don't hit someone. Like I know people say, well, no, someone insults your wife. I mean, but in that setting, no. Like, isn't Chris Rock a comedian? I know he's an actor too. I don't really know much about celebrities, um, but I don't know. Anyone who's seen it though, does it look staged or does it look like the real thing? I'm not gonna bother watching it. I just don't bother with that stuff. So, we've got, all right. Um, yeah, more, Will Smith comments. Since I don't know it, I probably won't comment anymore on that. Some jokes. Chikawa says, "I think bad art is fine. It is saying no one has a right to criticize. It's saying no one has a right to criticize it. It's not okay." And that's where I'm coming from. Um, you can disagree with my critique on bad art, or even my position that you should criticize bad art. Um, but and yeah, you can disagree with me, but like don't oppose me, and come attack me just because I have that position. Exactly. Prof is saying, sound engraving, you mean the difference between enjoying and showing support? Well, yeah, I guess I should I put a little context because people who watch this stream, of course, watch your stuff. I'll need maybe I'm missing a point. Um, you mean the difference between enjoying and showing support? Well, the thing is, like, if if people if people enjoy it, they'll of course support it. At the end of the day, I'm that's what they're gonna do. I will contend with that on the dangers, the cultural ramifications of supporting bad art. I will definitely be dogged in that position. Um, but yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I'm not going to be hostile to that person for enjoying art. I feel like people might say that's there's a thin line to when it comes to that, but I don't know. I'm seeing a big thick line. I feel like they're like treating people with respect, but also understanding the ramifications of bad art as well. I- so where Prof and I are in this, in case you guys didn't know, but of course you do know if you've watched any of my streams and any of Prof streams, is that we will be talking about the moral ramifications and the cultural and moral ramifications of supporting bad art. Now, the person now I'm not gonna berate that person either. I will say what's what. It's kind of like Christian admonishment. It's like admonish the person in their sin, but don't berate them and make them don't shame them, don't shun them, don't berate them, but say, hey, listen, the sin is serious, okay? And so I think Prof and I at least share that position where it's like, guys, no matter who calls us what, um, we will be not only preserving art and producing art. We will be preserving and producing good art, but we will also be talking about the ramifications of bad art too, if it comes, if the opportunity comes. So yeah, and actually, I'm kind of wondering with Big Al, Prof, because maybe this is another topic, because the person whoever's going to enjoy bad art is going to support it. That's just a given. But I'm not going to berate the person for doing it. I will talk about the cultural ramifications and the moral and the spiritual ramifications as well. Go Team Ghost Planet Go says the Batman film is horrible. It is nihilistic. I don't know. In fact, I heard with this recent one, they were trying to make him a positive character like Superman at the end. And I don't quite know why for Batman. He can be aspirational and gritty. He could be in a gritty setting and be completely aspirational. Arkham games showed that very well. Okay. Prof and Big Al are going at it. Let me clarify something because maybe I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself, but let's go ahead and bring up Prof's comment. To Big Al, he says, because support has consequences. As to my Twinkie analogy, anyone has a right to eat a Twinkie every day for breakfast, but they do harm if they encourage everyone else to do so as well. So, and that's kind of what I was saying before. If you enjoy something, yeah, this is kind of getting into a bigger, deeper issue. So let me see, because I feel like it's a stream of consciousness. It's my stream of consciousness that's happening. It's happening in real time, guys. You are seeing my mind flow right now. So let me just repeat myself and be clear. I will critique bad art because I believe it has social, cultural, moral, and spiritual ramifications for our society. Should it exist? Sure, bad art, bad quality is going to happen. It's inevitable. You can't define the good without the juxtaposition or the comparison of the bad, unless you're God. God is not good or bad. God is all good. But so you have the liberty of enjoying bad art. I think I know. Okay, I think I know where I'm getting hung up. We're talking about Prof is talking about popular art, bad quality in popular art, and the ramifications of that. And now I realize sometimes when I say, "Hey, enjoy bad art," it's okay to enjoy bad art. I'm actually thinking of the independent retro music track that no one listens to, but maybe I enjoy. So I can like bad art, still call it bad, but still enjoy it. So with Prof's case, it is really the universal, the ubiquitous art that is in things like our beloved franchises and our archetypes, our storytelling, our archetypes, the hero's journey, the 3-act structure, whatever the case is. So when talking about the art that is ubiquitous, that is everywhere, like it is with a franchise, yes, supporting the bad is going to have major ramifications. So again, you have the liberty to enjoy it, but know that there is moral ramifications as well. Okay, hopefully I cleared some of that up, and maybe I'll catch the replay and see if I've made sense, or if I'm leaving anything out, I'll bring it about in my next video, or maybe put it in a condensed video. Oh, actually though, Big Al is actually presenting something that reminds me that I have more to talk about. Yeah, supporting Book of Boba Fett isn't going to give anyone diabetes. Okay. Oh, guys, I want to get into your comments and your chats, but this made me realize that I have a couple other points that I want to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about diabetes. No, we're not talking about diabetes, but we are talking about, yeah. Okay. Let's actually bring this into another application. So Big Al is of the mind that he can enjoy without consequences. Now, the reason why I can see his position on that, even if I don't agree with it, I could see his position on this because this is entertainment we're talking about. Yes, we're talking about art, but we're talking about art in the form of entertainment. So let's put it to a different application. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about enjoying food for food's sake. And actually, we're not even going to be talking about the health ramifications. We're gonna get a little bit abstract. Are you guys ready to get some abstract ideas? Let's talk about food. So let's imagine that all the creative decisions that we have seen with all these franchises, Warner Brothers, Disney, between Marvel and Lucasfilm, whatever the case is, DC, all of that. Let's say everyone involved in the creative and business decisions regarding these franchises of the current years transferred over, like their mode of thinking transferred over to the food world. And you go to your favorite restaurant. Could be a fast food chain, could be a nice restaurant in your town, whatever the case is. Could be any kind of restaurant. And you go in and you're like, it's a Sunday afternoon. I'm going to get my traditional favorite entree of this favorite place of mine. And you get the entree and something's not quite right. Maybe there's not pepper in the smoked peppered bacon. Okay, but it's still bacon, it's still bacon in your wrap, right? Okay. I missed the pepper. I missed the black pepper. But that's okay. It's got all the ingredients and all of that. And then other changes in the recipe start happening. And it's like, well, but this was my favorite entree. I really enjoyed this, but now it's kind of bland. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll get something else. But it wasn't the same as that first entree you love so much. That was your Sunday tradition, man. And they changed the recipe. Okay. Well, okay. There's still food. It's still a good restaurant, and there's still good food in this restaurant. So you start a new tradition with a new entree. I'm like, okay, I like this. But then it starts happening again. Weeks, months down the road, it's like, oh, what did they do to this entree? And then you're looking at the menu. I'm like, well, I could change, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling like I like this menu. Maybe I just shouldn't go to this restaurant anymore. And you don't. Why? Oh, well, you have the freedom to choose not to do that because there are other restaurants. But then you go to different restaurants and you're seeing the same thing happen at the different restaurants. There's some creative decisions on the recipes that you just don't agree with. And then you're seeing these major changes, not just in the local restaurants or the popular restaurants around the country, but also your favorite fast food restaurants. Let's say it came to the point where Chick-fil-A stopped serving chicken. Now that's a big change, right? And they're like, well, okay, I guess all these restaurants are doing this. Like they're taking away my favorite food. It's still food, it's still nutrition, but they're taking away my favorite food. I don't really have the options of going to any more restaurants. Okay, well, I'll start cooking. Okay, there's nothing wrong with cooking. I'll start cooking. And then you're seeing a very questionable change in the grocery store. There's no East Asian aisle. There's no Mexican aisle. There's no Italian aisle. There's no spices. Where are the spices? I came for my basil, and there's no basil. And then you start realizing the change in the way food is being presented, whether in the restaurant or the options you would have at a grocery store. There's been a change where now food is just meant to be sustenance, to partake in, to have nutrition, but without the flavor, without the function of being enjoyed at all. Now people say, hey, wait a second. Wait, are you saying you should enjoy food like I should enjoy my entertainment? I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, I enjoy my cup of black coffee. But it's actually not the enjoyment that's put into question here. You can still eat, but you probably won't enjoy the food as much. But I'm talking about optionality. See, these business creative decisions saying, "Well, no, this is still good for you because you got your nutrition. You're still eating. Okay, don't complain just because you can't put spices on your meal that you're trying to cook and be flavorful. The excellence is gone. You still got the nutrition. You still got the sustenance to keep you alive, but the excellence of the quality of food is gone, and there's no optionality anymore. You don't have anywhere to go to get excellent food. You can only have mediocre food. You can only have poor quality food. Like, okay, I've got this chicken, it's meat. I need the meat, I need the protein, but I miss that seasoning for that chicken. Where's my chicken? Like the chicken that I used to make every Sunday. The optionality is not there because excellence no longer exists. And I think that is happening with the IPs, where it's not just the bad art existing, it's existing at the expense of good art because what was good quality, what was excellent quality, has been destroyed or reworked or revised and replaced with a lesser thing. And so for people who enjoy something, do know that you might be enjoying something, but you also might be enjoying something at the expense of someone else not getting their share of the excellent thing. For me, I'm mostly inspired by excellent art. I'm not going to spend my time with the mediocre stuff. Am I a snob? No. It's just how I'm rewired. It's like, or rewired, that's kind of creepy. I'm not programmed, I promise. I'm not a replica or replicant. But I'm so inspired by life. Like life inspires me when I see excellence. And I know I'm not the only one. And so when people who want to stay positive, and I'm not talking about you, Al, people who say, no, just give me the positive and you are a cynic, negative person, and how dare you be negative. When you're berating me for wanting the excellent, just know you might enjoy your terrible quality show, but not only are you enjoying it, that show now with art happening in the last 10 years of how executive producers and showrunners and writers and all that, how they've been doing art, you're enjoying that show at the expense of someone missing excellence of another show that ceases to exist or doesn't even begin to exist because it's a downward spiral. There isn't, well, I'm speaking of Western entertainment. I can't speak for foreign entertainment, but with Western entertainment, there's a proactive dismantling and destroying that which is excellent. What's the best example we could talk about right now? Lord of the Rings. Amazon's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. You know it's going to be bad. There's all the implications and red flags that is going to be bad. And that exists to spite the existence or what could have been existing, and we know it exists to now spite good art, an existence of the good. Rather than have a good show that Amazon created, we're gonna have a bad show. And that's why I was so forward with my video on why Rings of Power, that show, is going to fail. I had some key points, and I had to bring up the beauty of Tolkien's Middle Earth as far as aesthetics were concerned, because it was so important to talk about. Now, people could, in this line of thinking of attacking people who are critical or thinking critically, they could say, I just lost my train of thought. Well, it'll come back. But they might fault me. They might say, you know what, Michelle, you're a Blackpill for saying that. I'm like, no, I just want to bring and uphold the aesthetics of Tolkien's vision, and there's nothing wrong with that. So hopefully my food example made sense. It's not even so much the bad art existing. but now it's existing at a level, at a rate where good art is getting less and less. It's existing at the expense of good art. They're not coexisting. Bad art and good art are not really coexisting anymore. It's just perpetually bad. It's perpetually bad. So anyway, let's continue with the comments. All right. So all right. Dr. Y says, I like 1998 Godzilla movie despite its flaws. It has more likable human characters than the MonsterVerse. And I know. I don't think Big Al could ever fight, and we love him for that. And the thing is, like, I'm not in spiritual contention with someone like the Big Al. Like, yeah, like the day Big Al would call me a Blackpill is the day I question my very existence. I would say, what reality is this? This isn't real. All right. I think it's just playful banter from Al's part. All right. Oh, see? And they are like brothers. I love Professor Geek like a brother. All right, Owen Lister is in. Nice to see you. The bat suit from the Batman should have been the first red flag that this was not iconic Batman and that awful Riddler design. I think I saw the Catwoman costume and it doesn't look good. The only movie I'm looking forward to seeing is Sonic 2, and I don't expect it to be a masterpiece, just a decent film. Okay, so yeah, I need to watch the first Sonic. I need to watch the first Sonic film. So Prof and I will watch that. And I think actually, if I'm sort of kind of throwing this out there, I kind of would like to see Sonic 2 in theaters. Now I will say that trailer that came out for Sonic 2, the first one looked great. That second trailer betrayed a little bit mediocre writing. Besides Jim Carrey's Eggman or Dr. Robotnik and Sonic himself, those two are going to be the highlights of obviously that film. Knuckles, he looks great. He looks great, but the lines that he has, even Sonic had some okay lines. I didn't really appreciate I think the second trailer actually showed the bad moments of the movie. I hope the movie is better than the second trailer because I just didn't feel like it didn't. I don't know. I could be of a different opinion from most people. People say, "Oh, that's awesome," and it looks awesome. It looks great. It looks fantastic. But the first trailer looked really good. But I'm not sure about the second trailer. Anyway, but I still will watch that. I still will watch that. Owen Lister says, right now, the truly objective and iconic Batman movie we ever got was Mask of the Phantasm, and what a movie. Oh, I hear the theme right now. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, my voice is kind of weak. Allergies. I've had a lot of phlegm this beginning of spring. Don says, I also stopped watching the news a couple of years ago. I have a fast look when a major event happens and then I'm out again. And that's, you know what, I think that's really healthy. I get, this might be a little bit more emotional sound engraver moment. And I hope I don't sound indignant, but when I see headlines of news, and I'm even talking about, I'm conservative politically, and I haven't watched something like Fox News in years. Like the last time I watched Fox News was in a house I was staying at for the summer because that family watched Fox News. And I remember the husband, he's like, he's looking at his wife. He's like, I read the news. I don't watch it. And the thing is, I was eating dinner and I sat and had fellowship with them, but the news was on, and I just listened to how they were talking. And I listened I it had been 8 years since I saw the news, and then before that, it had been nothing because I didn't watch the news as a kid. Well, I'm 35, so there's a time gap. No, no, I didn't have TV in my early 20s. I didn't have TV for, like, years. After leaving the house, I just didn't have TV, so I didn't have the news. I didn't know what the news was like. And so this last summer when I was hanging out with this family, and the news was on, I was like, the way they talk is to get you emotional. It's very manipulative. And people could say, "Oh, no, no, they've got a fair assessment of things." I don't care if it's Fox News, I don't care if it's MSNBC. CNN is pretty pathetic. Sorry, CNN watchers, if you're there. But whatever the news is, they say things. They use their voice. They inflect in such a way with such nuances. They've got sound designs. They've got lights. They've got headlines and scrolling text. They have it down to the letter how to best manipulate your emotions. And I don't watch the news anymore, but sometimes I get it on YouTube. It's fed into my YouTube feed. I'm like, not interested. Because I'll watch a podcast that has certain political leanings. It's like, oh, well, you'll want to watch this news outlet. No, I just listen to the podcast, okay? No news. I listen to the podcast. And then but I'll see it in my feed, and there's a headline saying, "You should be worried about this. Oh, guys, we might be out of food soon." And it's like, you know what? Even if that's true, that is not your right to instill fear. Like this massive scale of fear and psychosis. Even people with the same political leanings as me, I am highly, 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 highly skeptical of how the news is run. Because it's like, oh no, we're at a food shortage. I better listen and see how I can best prepare myself. It's like, the news cycle is going to change in 2 weeks. So it really gets people on a kind of a hypertension, this global hypertension that I actually think is evil. I actually think manipulating people's emotions on a massive scale is absolutely evil. So I apologize for sounding indignant if I did, but it really bothers me that people from all across the political gamut would try to manipulate your emotions and say, "Oh, I should be scared. You're right, I should be scared." No, that's not how people should be designed to live. I'm not saying obliterate fear and anxiety. Those are real things and real problems, but I think the phrase is called, and I got this from satire. How I get my news is actually through comedy. um, I think he was saying the term mass psychosis. Is that what it is? Where people were very powerful political figures and media figures are trying to get the world in a perpetual state of fear. And it's evil. It's evil. As someone who goes through anxiety, to willfully induce someone to an anxious state, I think is abominable. I think it's very wicked. Anyway, let's be positive. Let's be positive. Deflating Atheism says, "Computing forever." I remember him. I don't follow him anymore because I stopped. He was on Minds, and I got off Minds. I just didn't like Minds. He might be on BitChute still. And I'll probably check out his videos, but actually, they got depressing me too. So, and I like him. I like him as a commentator, but I couldn't watch it frequently either. Has a series where he goes back to Computing Forever. Has a series where he goes back and watches movies like Field of Dreams, which may have been considered schlocky at the time, but whose values are a breath of fresh air these days. Oof, probably true. Not really familiar with the film myself, but Go Team Go says Chris Rock was the hamster from Dr. Dolittle. Never saw the new one. Saw the old one. Well, new now. That's probably years old. Private Eye says, I was just watching one of the greatest animated shows ever, Megacell XLR. I think of a cable, XLR cable. And I could only think, man, this is 20 years old and it looks thousands of times better than anything from today. Yeah, we were kind of talking about that with the aesthetics of Lord of the Rings. It's like it does actually look old, like it was made 20, 23 years ago, but it's still got the look of it, right? Yeah, I'm still amazed that there's so much capacity, so much processing power to generate very, very beautiful things, and people they're just not creative. I look at photography on Twitter. I follow some artists who render gorgeous photography, just beautiful concept art and photography, and I think to myself, some of these worlds are just astounding, like these science fiction worlds, just beautiful stuff. And I'm like, we have the ability, we have the technology to generate real live action films with that kind of beautiful world building. And people refuse to do it because they don't want to take risks, or they're just going with the formula and all of that. And it's kind of heartbreaking when people actually have the power to do something mind bending and they don't. That's kind of tragic. Owen Lister says, it has been a long time. Haven't been watching a lot of streams because I grow tired of the same pop culture topics. Yeah, and actually, I don't know if you caught the professor's recent video. It's been something on his mind. He'll get people asking him. I don't know where. I think whether on Facebook or whatever. He'll get people saying, "Hey, what'd you think of the Batman? Like, are you gonna dump on it? Like say bad stuff about it." And Prof is just tired. He was like, "Guys, you know what I'm going to say," and no one's listening anymore. And that's what I'm talking about, the plateau effect, where people are now, their entertainment now is just bashing bad stuff, or yeah, bashing bad stuff. It's like, well, that's our entertainment now, and that's actually where the Prof is careful even not to produce new content regarding that. He has his book studies. He has his book studies with the Star Wars EU on the Professor Geek channel, and then he has his more Christian leaning literature with his Catholic Bible Geek channel. We're going through the Return of the King on that channel, and he enjoys the literature he's talking about, and that satisfies him, and understandably so, because he's kind of now mentally and intellectually he himself has not plateaued, but and I understand it, he is tired of saying what's wrong about stuff, and then people saying, oh yeah, you're right, and they go watch the film. Now, if you enjoy the film, okay, that's you're not helping the cause, but again, you've got the liberty to. But it's when people actively say, yeah, you're right, Prof. You are so right about this. They can't be doing this to this character. I watched it. Sorry. I'm sorry. Am I in trouble? In so many words, that's kind of the effect that he's felt. I feel the same with as a teacher, as a music teacher, when I have retention issues, like where I give the student the set of rules and tools to be a better violinist, and they come back with the same thing, and I'll do it. It's a job. I'll say the same thing week after week, year after year, but it drains you. It drains you. You would want that student to quit and find something that they love to do, or that they would feel that they have a natural gift in. I have gone through a lot of students where music is not their thing, and that's fine. Maybe they're athletes, maybe they're scientists, maybe they should be on the debate team, but music is not their thing. And as a teacher, I would say, please find something else. Please find something where it clicks and you can just, go ramp up exponentially. But with the prof, he's tired. He's intellectually and mentally and emotionally tired of saying the same things he's been saying for 4 to 5 years now. And now people are just saying, "Saw it anyway. Yeah, you're right, prof. You're right, but I saw it anyway." That's draining. And so now he's focusing on stuff he loves, like the book studies. And he does his Bible survey on his Catholic Bible Geek channel, and he loves that stuff. He feels fulfilled. I mean, his Catholic Bible Geek channel is not monetized, and the prof can make a lot of money. Sorry, prof. I was like, but he said it on his streams too. He like the He-Man thing. Now, He-Man was a really important thing for him, but he was blessed with, I don't know the figures, but he was blessed with YouTube blessing him with that commentary. But how far does that go before it's you feel tired of saying the same thing that is important, like talking about the archetypes and who Superman is, things like that. That's still very important to him. He hasn't lost that interest, and he hasn't lost that passion. But people coming to him and saying, "Well, I watched it anyway. Even though I support you in your beliefs, I'm going to watch it anyway." And by the way, though, this is a new thing that we're seeing. This is a cultural shift. It used to be dynamically in opposition, where you've got people who loved The Last Jedi and hated The Last Jedi, and then people would. I said on one of his videos in a comment, The Last Jedi was the right moment for people just to say no. But that didn't happen. What happened was, I don't like the sequel trilogy. Okay, what they did with season 7, that wasn't bad. Oh, I love Mando. I love Mandalorian. Okay, Book of Boba Fett. And they just keep the wheel going. And if you do feel convicted, like, I can't support this, then cool, then don't support it. But this kind of thing where I guess if I were to put myself in Prof's position, I would feel like you're flogging a dead horse. It's like, I know that's kind of a graphic example, but it's like I keep beating around the bush, and I'm tired of talking about this. So again, that was a bit of a rant. And sorry, Prof, for using you as an example. I hope that was okay to use. I had heard you say as such before, but yeah. Oh, and that was his last video. He's like, where people had been asking, like, why don't you talk about the Batman film, or why don't you talk about the current thing, and talk about what Marvel's doing. How dare Marvel? It's like, it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna do anything. Oh yeah, actually, I know Dave Cullen, Competing Forever. They're one and the same. To the people watching Boba Fett, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I feel like they do know what they're doing. Gigawatt says you can constantly eat junk food and enjoy, but that won't be healthy if anyone else did that. Yeah. So, yeah, this is so I think I've said what I needed to say, at least for this stream. And then if I have any more clear ideas, I would put it in a more condensed way. But, Al is having kind of a healthy, not point of contention, but, a way to disagree with the points we've been making. Anyway, Owen Lister says, at least your food analogies don't involve, fecal matter. Cool. Word of advice to anyone who uses food analogies. Yeah. I don't use gross example, that is for sure. All right. Looking forward to the new Nicolas Cage movie. It looks pretty fun. I don't know what that movie is. I haven't really been up to speed on the things that are about to be released. So actually, you know what? I think Big Al put all my thoughts in a nutshell. People should never be judged on preferences. People can like or dislike whatever they want. So yeah, I think a really healthy way to look at it is, from my perspective, I would be in disagreement with Al on things as far as all art and cultural implications and ramifications. What is objectively good? What is objectively bad? And talk about the importances of why you should promote objectively good stuff and dismiss the bad. Now, Big Al is in disagreement with me, and that's fine. But I would never berate him. I would never call him stupid for having these preferences. And I ask the same of people who want to stay positive, though. I don't think it's fair. It's a straw man, even to accuse someone of being narcissistic, hopeless, cynical, black-pilled, all these stigmatizing terms. That's not fair on the person making the critique. So as much as I don't berate anyone, I wouldn't have anyone berate me for having the difference of opinion. So, yeah. Lister says, I recently bought Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is pretty dark, though Batman Beyond show is actually darker than the animated series. Oh, yeah, that's actually animated series. That's what we need to watch, Prof. We're going through Thundercats right now. We're going through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Thundercats. But I would like to go through the animated series as well. Private Eye says, about the news, it is sad that I can say that my third world country press looks at the U.S. news and we're like, dude, chill out. Man. Well, that's kind of sobering. Oh, man. Yeah. This is a little bit more of a, I got to go through the comments, but you guys are bringing up just to light some things that I've had in mind as of late. We are blessed as a third world nation, as a first world nation. Being here in the United States, and we should not take our freedoms for granted because I think our freedom is on the line in many respects. But I would say this: the third world countries, they're presented with the problem of the physical and the material. So things like, and actually probably from a more Christian perspective, they suffer. Oh, maybe. Well, I'll leave the Christian perspective out. That's another topic or whatever. But the third world nations involve people that do they are in constant conflict with the physical. Getting the basic needs as food and water and medicine and hygienic products and things like that. Doctors, nurses, all of that we take for granted. We've got a emergency. Every city has like block after block, an emergency care little house, that we can go to, or building, clinic that we can go to if we have a medical emergency, and we have grocery stores, we do have a lot of all these things that of course we take for granted now. And so the third world is in constant conflict with the physical and the bodily, the material, needing bodily needs such as food, water, and all that. First world country, though, however, and this is coming from me as a Christian, but even if you're not a Christian or a religious person, what the first world comes now in constant conflict is the moral, the spiritual and the moral. And when I say spiritual, I don't mean just my faith in God and as a Christian, but the what defines us as the aspirational human being, like what we should aspire to be. And the first world offers so much vice and so much things that would inundate you with to slow you down mentally and physically and spiritually and emotionally, saying no, you don't bother with this good deed, don't bother with caring for the elderly, just all those things. We're bombarded as a first world country, here in the United States, but also, Australia, Europe, all that. We're bombarded with our morale and more I should say morality, where it's like the world pushes us to make bad decisions, like morally bad decisions. That's what we are struggling with as a first world nation. And it's interesting that your comments, like, were you, or at least the press that you're engaged with, looks at us saying, "Wow, chill out." It's like that's pretty sobering. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The first world is full of vice and all that. Not some very ignoble things that we have to be aware of. All right. Gigawatt, okay, thank you for supporting us. I think the professor and sound engraver are trying to say that if people aren't critical, the standard across all popular art genres will degrade in quality as a whole. Thank you. I could have just said that and be done with the stream. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Thompson says, the food example made very good sense. Music is my favorite art form, and even though I've never liked mainstream music that much, it's actually disturbingly bad these days. And the thing is, as Gigawatt was saying in support of me and the prof, is bad art exists, and that's fine. I'm not saying that it shouldn't exist, but having it be ubiquitous, having it be everywhere, and at the expense of decreasing the quantity of good art, that's a problem. That's actually a cultural, societal problem. We don't need art to survive per se, at least not on the physical and on the bodily. But as far as our human nature and our psyche and what causes us to make right and wrong decisions, oh yeah, we need art, and we need good art. Sorry, Al, I hope this stream is not feeling like you can exit if you want. I don't want this to feel like it's haranguing on you. I think it's really not you. I'm coming from a place where I'm reading all these comments and stuff. All right, so let's continue. Oh, okay. You're kind of right. The irony of what Professor Geek says is that literally a real life example happened with the Oscars. Oh my gosh. That's serendipity right there. We're just gonna hang on that thought in a moment of silence. Final Fantasy fan says, bashing bad things because it sounds fun. Why not watch Mystery Science Theater 3000? They do this kind of thing all the time. Yeah, I mean, there's yeah, I don't know that reference, but yeah, there's entertainment now to be had. We'll get through the comments and all that. Deflating Atheism says, my band teacher saw my mother at the grocery store and told her that music wasn't for me. I play clarinet badly. Joke's on her. I'm a composer now. Yeah, cool. That's great. Do you do electronic music or do you do acoustic music? Or both? You can do both. I got this weird stray hair like that. Okay. I too am focusing on more things I love: anime, manga. Sorry, I hear manga sometimes. Older movies and my drawing. Excellent. I just finished Final Fantasy V last night. I had so much fun with that game. I just enjoyed that game a lot. I love the story. I love the music. I love the gameplay. I love the jobs that you can select. I'll probably return to that game specifically every 3 to 4 years just to try new jobs and see what happens. I love the simple villain hero comparison. It's just a simple game, but it's just good. It's just a good game. 53 hours. Now that could be me grinding, and I think I didn't have to grind so hard. But it was 53 hours of fun, and I love it. I love the old stuff. I'm gonna take a couple days break, and then by next week I think I will start Final Fantasy VI or 3 in Japanese. And then I'm gonna after that, I'm gonna take a break from Final Fantasy and then go into Chrono Trigger. I would like to start Chrono Trigger. Oh, by the way, I should have like a game video out sometime this week. I did some editing before the stream. Good advice, or good mode of action. Go team, Ghost Planet, go. Oh, Craig Wagner is here. Welcome. I think we're in roast culture. People love to tear apart what they don't like instead of just spending time with what they love. Yeah, and Prof has mentioned this a couple times, probably more than a couple times. It's a community. It's a community. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll probably forget my thoughts. Oh, thank you guys for hanging out. I know it's not. It's only an hour and a half. That's not bad. I still have more thoughts, but we'll see. Yeah, I think let's hang on this idea, this roast culture a little bit. As I was talking about, it's entertainment now to just get into the bad hype of things. Like people have made watching bad entertainment fun and engaging. An example of this, it was educational in the way of what not to do as far as writing is concerned. But that was Shad Adversity's second channel with his friends called Night's Watch. He did a whole series on the Wheel of Time, and he loves the Wheel of Time series. I know nothing about it. I don't really follow fantasy at all, but he was talking about the major changes and the major flaws in the writing. That is entertainment. Like to me, that kind of educational thing is entertainment. Now, where I would say you should draw the line, and he this is his business, so not discrediting him for making money on this. Where I would think would be really, really helpful is to say, guys, with Wheel of Time, he thought it could be good. He was giving it the benefit of the doubt, and then it was an absolute train wreck. He knows Lord of the Rings will be bad. His friends know that the Halo series that just came out on Netflix will be bad compared to what in knowing what they know about Halo and their experience of the game. They know it's going to be bad. Here's where I draw the line. And I can only speak for my channel of 1,800 people, so I don't have 80,000 subscribers, so I don't know what my decision would be. If I'm honest with you guys, I don't know what my decision would be. But where I would draw the line where they do not is they will watch the bad. I really wish they would say, don't watch it. We're not watching it. We're reading articles based on it, and we're going to assess based on that. I wish they did that because they're already an insightful bunch. They could probably have their own entertainment doing that. But what really kind of grinds my gears a little bit is we'll take the bullet for you guys so you don't have to watch it. It's like, that's not going to be 100% of the audience. Probably 30,000 of their 80,000 subscribers are going to watch it. So they have that communal experience. It's now become this communal community. Like, I feel like I belong in this community because they think like I do. And it's very addictive. It's very much like a dopamine hit where they're not seeing the future. I know I've been using this word a lot. They're not seeing the future ramifications. They're not seeing the future ramifications of our society by saying, oh, no, wait, I'm taking the bullet, guys. You don't have to watch it. No, don't watch it. Set an example. Set an example and not watch it. You can have your own insight on it. Or talk about what makes Wheel of Time great. Or talk about what makes Halo great. Or whatever the given franchise is. When I talked about Rings of Power, a month back, a few weeks back, I talked about the aesthetics of Tolkien. I talked about the importance of aesthetics. That's why I made the comparison. Now, I had a well-meaning person, and she watches my channel and she makes comments. She did say that, we don't talk about it at all because then it's going to be irrelevant if you don't talk about it. You know what? I agree with her, but I do believe it's not going to happen until 10 or 20 or 30 years down the road where things like this will be irrelevant because people have made the bad entertainment and the commenting or commentating on bad entertainment so irrelevant. Now, people might call these channels grifters. I'm not going to go so far as saying they're grifters. Some are. Some are saying, hey, guys, rumors. This is happening. My mic, I just realized, is like far away. Hopefully I sound clear. You know, I'm sure I do. Some actually are media grifters, but some make their business on just saying, hey, guys, this is bad stuff. Let's talk about the bad. And you know what? If that keeps going, and I think it will go for another decade or so until people are just really do throw their hands up in the air and say, I'm done, I quit. Like that might happen too. There might be a cultural change there. There might be a drop off in, ideas like YouTube channels like Nerdrotic or Geeks and Gamers. I don't really watch those. And I don't know if I would call, well, I don't know Geeks and Gamers. I don't know his content. I'm not going to call Nerdrotic a grifter. I'm not. And I think he's dissociated himself from other people who I probably would call grifters. But with Nerdrotic, people like him and Shad Adversity, they're gonna keep the steam rolling. They're gonna keep the relevance rolling. So while these things are relevant, I've got to preserve the good. So, no, don't talk about Rings of Power. I'm going to talk about Rings of Power in the context of why Tolkien's aesthetics are wonderful. Something like that. So, I have to keep talking about the good while the bad is happening. All right, let's go. Let's burn through these comments. Oh, okay. I miss you, Owen. You always raise up good points. What would you say about a person who doesn't like a piece of art, even if it's objectively good? I'd be interested in hearing your answer. Well, that's their preference. See, that's actually right there, right in your statement there, proves my position, and that is your experience of the art is what's subjective. The art piece in and of itself is self-contained. It's being objectively good or objectively bad. That is actually external to you. You can be removed from the piece of art, and that's not going to affect the piece of art. The piece of art affects you. It affects your experience, and that's what is subjective. But art is objectively good. Here's what I would say, Owen. You can't, just because a person doesn't like a piece of art, how am I phrasing this question? Just because you don't like a piece of art, that doesn't mean you call it bad. So if you don't like a piece of art, that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's good. It's completely exclusive to your experience of that piece of art. So that's actually where a lot of people say, oh, art is subjective. I like that art. I think that art is good, therefore it is good. No, you actually have to have reasons, assessments, criteria of why it's good to say it's good. I know people hate that. I won't jump on it anymore. I have videos on it. But I mean, I don't personally care if a person hates an objectively good piece of art. I do not prefer, it's a very good piece of composition. I don't prefer Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. It has a very dark connotation that really unnerves me. But it's a phenomenal piece of music. It's a good piece of music. It just is. I don't prefer it, but I'm not going to call it bad art just because I don't prefer it. And that's that. I hope I made that distinction. A person can hate a good piece of art. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. And I wouldn't force them to support it just because it's objectively good. I'll use this one quick example. Muslim architecture. I'm not Muslim. My beliefs are dynamically opposed to the Muslim belief or Islam, the view of Islam. but man, their architecture is beautiful. I would, I don't see myself traveling at all, really. But if I could like transport myself to, a safe, where it's safe for Christians, to a place where they would have that kind of architecture, I would love it. To see a mosaic on the floor, just I would love that. My beliefs are dynamically opposed to their beliefs, but I would say that their art and their architecture is very, very good. So hopefully that clarifies something. Thundercats, ho! Thundercats. It's great. Thundercats. 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 Sorry, I'm seeing the logo in my mind. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're from Paraguay. Wait, were you from? I felt like I had another person, a listener from I thought Uruguay. That's right. That's good. Cool. That's cool. That's cool to know that you're from there. Good. Independent content creators are the new Hollywood and the news media. Yeah, that's kind of true. It's either the worst of times or golden age, depending on where you look. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Big Al. Thank you for confirming because I love you. I just, I think you once said you see me as a little sister, and I hope that's true. And if you didn't, I'm sorry to put those words in your mouth. Started rewatching Smallville. I can't believe how good that series was. Dude, I keep talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's so deep. It's such good writing. Like there are some tiny little misses and some tiny little cues I pick up on, but at the end of the day, it's nothing to gripe about. Oh, it's getting late, so I'm gonna be heading for bed so I can work in the morning. Night. Good night, Owen. All right, we're getting through these comments, and then we'll probably wrap it up ourselves. I recently finished Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger for the first time earlier this year. Those two are the best RPGs I've ever played. Final Fantasy VI had a slightly more captivating story, but both are great. Yeah, actually, I love 5. I think Final Fantasy VI has the most beloved story. And I like the music. So we'll see. I'm about to watch older Disney movies I've watched since childhood. Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan. I've been watching Mickey Mouse shorts as of late. Oh, even Steamboat Willie. Wow. Speaking of creepy music, what was creepy music? Did I say something creepy? Are you familiar with Requiem for Soprano features in 2001 Space Odyssey? That's the scariest music I've ever heard in my life. I only think of like the Ligeti's atmospheres when I think Space Odyssey. I'll have to listen. I enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed the book series. I think I read all 4 books. I think there are 4 books in the series, and I think I read all 4 of them. I deeply appreciate 2001 Space Odyssey. I deeply appreciate the psychology of HAL 9000. Now, I love the movie, but if you really want to understand the character of HAL 9000, you got to read the book. It's so good. You really feel for him. He's a killer. He's a killer, but you really feel for him. Yes, you are like my little sister. Yes, thank you. You're my big brother, Al. Just don't call me your goddaughter, okay? Because first of all, I'm Protestant. It's a score. Oh, yes, it's the score that plays when they approach the monolith on the moon. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're right. Wait a sec. I thought that was Ligeti's Atmospheres. I'm gonna have to hear that because I thought that was Ligeti's Atmospheres. That now, well, I'll have to check, but another time. Yeah, I know that scene you're talking about. That's such a great scene. Good movie, good film. All right, so I think I had everything I've wanted to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was totally off the cuff. I had a lot to think about. And then again, if I have other bullet points, I could introduce it in another stream, or another fixed video. So yeah, yeah, I'm hearing it in my head, but I thought that was atmospheres. Yeah, it's pretty frightening. I'm not gonna listen to it at night because I do remember what that sounds like. It is pretty frightening. So let's talk about what's on the dock for my channel. A couple of things. I've been busy with projects, and then also I've been looking for work outside. I actually even had a meeting. I don't know if it was an interview, but I actually went to a meeting today at a studio over in town, and they liked me. They're a sweet bunch of people. I felt good. You know, I felt that the environment of that studio felt really good. I hope they would need me for something, whether it's teaching violin. I would love to teach composition. I didn't get the vibe that they needed composition lessons, but it would be super cool if I could teach composition at this studio. So, but I've been working on like my curriculum vitae and just sending, working to gig, at different places, and then also teach at different places. So I've been kind of looking for work. So YouTube has been on the back burner, but I have been composing, editing and composing a few tracks. So I'll probably just put in another sample track for this week's sound experimentation video. But I do actually have, I should be done. I should be done actually. Definitely by Friday. I hope. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna make it happen. Where I have another score and analysis of Donkey Kong, the country, the first game, where I not analyzed, but I did some commentary on the three themes of Donkey Kong, his family, or the Kong clan. Oh, that's what I should have said. The Kong clan. The themes of Cranky Kong, Funky Kong, and Candy Kong. And I gave my score and analysis. Now I'm going to say this, guys. Art is objective. You know why? I scored based on structure and function and instrumentation. I'll just give you a little bit of a teaser. So Cranky, Funky, and Candy. I scored Cranky Kong as far as structure, 10 out of 10. Actually, the whole, I gave him 100% for his theme, and I'll explain why in the video. 100%, but it's actually a piece of music I do not prefer, but it works as a piece of music for what it serves. It's not my favorite theme. I don't prefer it as a piece of music. I mean, it's cute. It's part of Donkey Kong's culture. So for its functionality and for its music composition, I gave it 100%. Funky Kong, his theme, I really, really enjoy. And I actually had to dock a couple of points off his score. So the Funky Kong is something I enjoy. His theme I enjoy, and I prefer to Cranky's theme. But Cranky has 100%. Funky has 95%. But I enjoy something more that I docked down. That is objectivity. I prefer something but was objective to remove a couple points down, and I didn't prefer something I gave 100% to. So objectivity exists, guys. Just want to say that. And Candy Kong is the best. It's great music. So be on the lookout for another video game video for the Donkey Kong series. And I think that is it for the announcements. I promise, guys, I will get back into SuperCollider, and I want to finish my FM synthesis tutorials. I have one more thing to show you, live processing, FM with live processing. And then I'm going to put it in a playlist because I think I have a lot on FM synthesis that I think is really imperative for people to know if you guys are interested in SuperCollider. And actually, it will be my endeavor this spring, and I'll probably do a separate video on it to announce it, but it will be my endeavor this spring to actually make my code available to people for downloading. And I know how to do that. I just want to make sure my code is the best it can be, make sure everything works before I do that. So that's going to be my maybe spring, summer endeavor. So anyone interested in SuperCollider could have access to my code. Disclosure, I'm not a programmer, so I might not have the best code, but I'll make it available for you. So that's all for me. We've got a Catholic Bible Geek channel book study tomorrow at 9:30, I believe, Eastern time, on Return of the King. And then, of course, we've got Big Al Presents, his channel, with his reviews and rambles and rewatches. Be on the lookout for that. Oh, ooh, whoa, sorry. I'm glad one second. No book study stream tomorrow night. I'm further behind on grading than I thought I was. Oh, sorry, Prof. I was afraid that was going to happen. Not the book study, but I was afraid that was going to happen to your schedule. Okay. Okay, no book study. Well, I don't have to rush home from my Bible study tomorrow night then. So, oh, wait. Gigawatt says, are you going over a list of game soundtracks or will you take suggestions? I have a huge queue. So just to give you a tease, I want to do all the Donkey Kong games. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3. I want to do the Final Fantasy ones I'm doing. So the first one I will do after Donkey Kong 3 will be Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6. So I will be doing those, and these are laborious videos to make, so I don't think I will be taking suggestions anytime soon. I will definitely do Chrono Trigger though when I play Chrono Trigger as well. Oh, Big Al, I'm sorry this stream has been such a hard one for you. I'm sorry. But fear not, Big Al. We'll talk about some positive music things next week. So that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Always be on the lookout for some sound experimentation. And until I see you next, produce, preserve, promote the good art you love, and I will catch you later.